Group B, we're lucky to have you on many levels, but not least because the country that you represented with such distinction on 82 occasions find themselves in the same section as England. These are the prices with Cobra Bet heading into the tournament. England 1-3, Wales second favourites for that group, something like 11-2. USA 13-2, so 6.5-1, and the outsiders, and yet the country who I guess you can argue probably will be least inconvenienced by the heat and humidity of the playing conditions, is Iran at 16-1. England kick off on Monday the 21st against the Iranians. Do you expect them to breeze through that, or is this going to be a little bit tighter than the odds might imply?
In a World Cup, everyone is good. They're very, very rarely nowadays in football these lopsided score lines. Iran is a well-structured team, not easy to break down, and they also have some players with very good technical ability. Conditions, you hit the nail on the head. This is not going to be. These are not going to be difficult playing conditions for the Iranians. I think England will win, but I think it'll be hard. You know, I don't see it being I don't see it being a 4-0 walk in the park. It could end up with 4 goals, of course, because they have such a good strike force, but I do not think it's going to be a walk in the park.
So if Gareth Southgate progresses to the 25th of November, he's got the small matter of an ultra fit and possibly underrated USA to come. That is not going to be straightforward. How do you see that one going? England against US, 25th of November.
Yeah, so for the US, it all is going to come down to who is fit, because our starting 11 for the US is very good, and very, very good, better than what people would say. We have a couple of injury problems. Weston McKennie has a knock right now. It looks like Luca Della Torre will miss out. Serginho Dest had a little bit of a knock. Josh Sargent had a calf problem. Good news, Giovanni Reina's back. It looks like to fitness. Christian Pulisic, of course, is an enormous player for us. If we have Weston McKennie fit, Tyler Adams fit, and Musa in the middle of the field, and if we have a hot goalkeeper, whether he chooses Turner or Zach Stefan, will be difficult for anyone to play against. I think if England played the US 10 times on a neutral ground, I think England would win more times than not. However, the games will be close. They'll be tight. Both teams like to play football. Both teams will press as well. It'll be interesting in just exactly how much pressing they'll do in the conditions. So I know Greg Berhalter will try to keep the ball a lot for the US team. And I'm sure if it was in a colder climate, then Gareth Southgate would press as high up the field as possible and try to win it. But I'm not sure if you can do that for 90 minutes in every game at the World Cup in Qatar. So, but that's also where squad rotation comes into a great deal of importance. But England will be favorites in the game. But again, the US is not a pushover at all, and we're capable of scoring against anyone. We're very good on the counterattack.
And England coming off the back of a tricky campaign for their Nations League qualifying, and that leaves England with the small matter of their very close neighbours, Wales, who, as we've seen, firstly under Ryan Giggs, latterly under Robert Page, who did a brilliant job at the Euro. We saw how fantastic they were also at Euro 2016. This hasn't happened by accident. This is a very, very good and improving group of players. Yeah, okay, their talisman is aging. And yes, they've only got 2 real star names, if you will. However, with Bale, with Ramsey, and with some promising young players, Wales are a force to be reckoned with also. And Robert Page, we know, will have them very well drilled. In your mind's eye, which of the 2 second favourites, or at least the 2 teams similarly priced behind England in Group B, which one will give the English most to think about, Wales or the US?
I think it's equal.
Yeah.
you know, the Welsh will be up for it because it's England. The English will know exactly what the Welsh players can do. So I don't see the England team taking their foot off the pedal mentally. For the game against the US, I hope for the US's sake that the England team thinks it might be an easier game than it actually will be, because that will level the playing field a little bit. You know, if England goes into all three of these matches fully focused, playing to the best of their potential, they should win all three. None of them easy games, but they should if you just went talent for talent. But that's not what happens every time people step on the field. I think the biggest game of this entire group is Wales against the US, because I think if one team wins that, then they're going to be either first or second in the group along with England. That's how I think it's going to play out. If England takes any of them lightly, then they could drop points, and then that makes the second spot a little bit of more of an interesting watch. But there's not a lot to choose between Wales and the US, and Wales has a player in Gareth Bale that scores on the big occasion, has gotten himself, it's sort of like his long run up to be fit for this World Cup when he's played over here in LAFC. And I know from firsthand experience just how good he can be. And he's a dangerous player, as we all know.
Final question on Group B, Matt. Is it possible, the bookies would have you believe that England will win the group? Odds of 1 to 3 suggest it's a closed book, and that actually the others are only scrapping for second place. Personally, I don't agree with that, but have the US, have Wales got the quality to capitalise if England fall a little bit short for whatever reason, whether it's motivation, whether it's tactics, whether it's conditions, whatever it might be? Could there be a surprise here? And could 11 to 2 shots Wales, could 13 to 2 shots the USA actually give us all a little bit of a surprise package and go and win Group B?
Yes. You know, an outside chance, yes. It's not, this group's not a foregone conclusion. England has a lot of work to do. You know, I'd say if you're England and, you know, 20, 30 years ago, you were paired up with Wales, the US and Iran, you'd be delighted. I don't think that Gareth Southgate and the staff are looking at this as a light, easy group, because when Wales plays against England, especially, that'll be almost just off the World Cup final. You know, that's how they'll give everything to get a result. And the US, if you take them lightly, they have some really good players. So yeah, not a foregone conclusion, England winning it. I would agree with them being favorite, but there could also be a slight surprise in this group.